Okay, good. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Board Town Hall meeting for May 1st, 2018. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Shaw?
Present.
Councilwoman Totori?
Present.
Councilwoman Feldman?
Present.
And Supervisor Levenberg.
Here. Today we're going to begin with a short special meeting before we get into our two very special presentations. I'm going to share a few short announcements, maybe not as short as originally imagined, before we get started. But before that, we are going to hold the public hearing for local law number 3 of 2018, which will regulate the use of our electric vehicle charging stations in Engle, Cedar Lane, and Ryder Parks. These stations, which were mostly funded by grants from New York State, were unveiled at Earth Day and will be valuable assets in our town parks for years to come. However, at the advice of Sustainable Westchester and our council, it became clear that we needed to pass legislation to create rules for their use. We are hopeful that, finding nothing controversial, the board will agree to adopt this local law later this evening.
Is there anyone here to address the board on local law number 3? Seeing none, can we have a motion to close this public hearing? Anyone?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so now we're going to go into announcements. Last week was a busy one. I had the opportunity to attend the Bocantego River Watershed Alliance Forum on reducing the use of lawn and landscape chemicals to help mitigate our negative impact on our watersheds, which directly impact our health and the environment. I was pleased to relate, in partnership with our Parks Foreman, Mario Pilardo, that the town is making efforts in our parks to avoid at all costs the use of chemical pesticides and herbicides. We do not use them right now at all. Additionally, in the last few years, our Parks Department has utilized the mulching in place option for dealing with leaves in our parks, which is more efficient, less costly, and better for the grass. We learned a lot about how best to support nature in our midst and protect public health, and I look forward in the near future to bringing forth additional initiatives to help educate and incentivize healthier, more eco-friendly practices throughout the town. Thursday evening, I was so excited to join the Austin Lions Club for their 20th anniversary celebration. They put on a small skit with the help of some very talented people in their midst, as well as a few ringers from Westchester Collaborative Theater to highlight how Helen Keller put her stamp on the organization and gave them their focus of supporting help for those with challenges with eyesight. Congratulations to the Lions, Maureen Morgan, and Stephen Hirsch for writing a brilliant skit, which truly shed light on this interesting history. On Friday, just before our Arbor Day celebration in the town, I participated in a policy forum with key stakeholders from state and county government and the industry to discuss electric vehicles so we could uncover and understand the current status and trends of EVs, discuss the mutual goals, identify obstacles, and create a framework for coordinated action that saves money for consumers and taxpayers while electrifying Westchester's transportation system. And that's a quote from their brochure for the forum. Our good friend Ron Kamen, Clean Transportation Program Director for Sustainable Westchester, moderated the highly engaging forum. I think we left with some specific actionable steps, and I look forward to participating in shared goal setting as we move forward with Sustainable Westchester and colleagues in local government. Our Arbor Day celebration was blessed with very cold rain, which I understand was considered good luck. I was joined by my colleagues on the board, Jackie Shaw and Liz Feldman, and I couldn't remember, Karen, did you come? Karen couldn't come, I'm sorry, because I saw you so many times I couldn't remember if it was that was one of them. As well as Green Ostenine, Susie Ross, and Donna Sharrett, and our EAC Chair, Mitzi Elks, as well as Garrett Huffman, who's in the audience tonight to make a presentation a little bit later, who also serves on our planning board. Our parks guys helped dig a trench, and we all learned from Donna Sharrett about choosing trees wisely. This one was a red oak, which thrives in slightly salty water conditions, good for the Hudson. What size is most likely to thrive? This one was about 4 feet tall with bare roots, not to build a mound around the tree, but rather create a well and do not bury the roots very deep, and make sure any natural mulch is not too close to the trunk. Make sure the tree gets about 1 inch of water a week. And if you look for the orange fencing around our new tree, you'll see where we planted it down towards the playground area in Engle Park. Thanks to Victoria Caffarelli from my office for coordinating. Friday night, I joined the Austin Documentary Discussion Series for their screening of Al Gore's An Inconvenient Sequel, which further underscored the need for us to take action locally to address the serious threat of climate change to our livelihoods and our birth. We have lots coming up in town this weekend, including several ways to pitch in and help clean up Ossining and help preserve some of the beautiful natural resources in our area. Saturday, May 5th is I Love My Parks Day, a statewide initiative with a local event at the Old Croton Aqueduct. You can register in advance online at www.ptny.org, but pre-registration is not required. Join me and other volunteers along the Old Croton Aqueduct Trail on Quaker Bridge Road in Croton, starting at 9:30 a.m. and get all the supplies you need to help clean up the trail by throwing out trash, nipping invasive plants in the bud, and restoring some of the historic features of the Old Croton Aqueduct. There's lots of goodies offered from a variety of local vendors, but be sure to bring a water bottle and lunch if you plan to stay for the whole day. You can also join Riverkeeper at one of their 2 sweeps at the Ossining waterfront between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Learn more at riverkeeper.org. You can also help out Riverkeeper and join in their Stencil a Storm Drain project, making a permanent impact on keeping our waterways clean, and that's a project in the village. Finally, Saturday, May 5th is also Stash the Trash Day in Ossining. Stop by the Recreation Center at 95 Broadway to pick up your gloves and bags and register your location on May 4th and or 5th from 8:30 to noon. We can give you some ideas if you don't have any spots in mind. And we are all in this together. Hope to see you out there. You can also visit greenossining.org to see the locations for the townwide tag sale on Saturday. Come find some new and gently used treasures to add to your stash. You could also jog with your dog at the SPCA of Westchester's annual Dog Walk and Pet Fair on Saturday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at FDR State Park in Yorktown Heights. Sign up to be a walker, and you can create a fundraising page to gather pledges to support your walk. It'll be a great day for the whole family to support the animals at the SPCA. Learn more by giving them a call at 941-2896 or visiting spca914.org. On the website, you can also see which animals are up for adoption and might make the perfect addition to your family. Finally, for this weekend, on Saturday the 5th and Sunday the 6th, the Ossining Arts Council will host their spring pottery show and sale at the Bethany Arts Community at 40 Somerstown Road. Come check out some great designs available to admire or to purchase admission, and admission is free. Just joking, not finally. On Sunday, May 6th, the Christopher Columbus Lodge number 692 will host their annual car show, co-sponsored by the Ossining PBA. Come check out some trucks, motorcycles, and of course, awesome classic cars at the Ossining train station between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. DJ Johnny G will be there spinning tunes. There will be food available for purchase. Also on Sunday the 6th, the Briarcliff Manor Scarborough Historical Society will present Crossing the Croton Part 3 at the Briarcliff Library at 2 p.m. Not to worry, if you missed 1 and 2, there is still plenty more to learn about the bridges across one of our local rivers. Coming up soon, the Ossining Book New Club Commissioning Day is on May 20th. Councilman Feldman, do you want to take this one?
Sure. We always have the memorial ceremony for those veterans and servicemen that were lost at sea. We launch a wreath every year. Everybody's welcome to attend. The Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and the public are invited to come on down and take part in that memorial that we do every year with the VFW.
Thank you. Are there any other, do you have any other?
I have one more. What is it? It's probably liaison.
We don't have liaison reports.
All right. All right. Well, the Ossining Arts Project. Thank you. Let's go with the program. Had a meet and greet at Bethany Arts Center. They're trying to identify and get all the local artists of whatever venue of musicians and painters and any kind of art to get together and meet each other and collaborate in all kinds of new and exciting ways. So if you are an artist and you're interested in meeting and collaborating with other artists, reach out to the Ossining Arts Project about their next one, which will be in a few months. And they're going to try to move them around town to different art venues. So the Westchester Collaborative Theater and the Ossining Elks Club, and I thought we might be able to do one at the Cedar Lane Art Center as well.
Sure.
So just keep it in mind, any artists out there that you might want to reach out and be a part of the program.
Right now, Austin Innovates is having a separate and exciting Meet the Entrepreneur right next door in the Austin Public Library. So if you are watching this live, I don't know if you can be. You can't be. Well, then you missed it. Okay. Do you guys have anything on this?
Okay, on May 20th at Ann M. Dormer Middle School at 9 a.m., Austin Union Free School District is introducing a new fundraising program called My School Color Run. Rather than sell goods, this program aims to engage the entire student body and the community in a fitness initiative. This Color Walk Run features a designated 2-mile course. During the race, participants are doused with color at various stations, ending with one final color celebration at the finish line. To get more information, you can visit events.myschoolcolorsrun.com to register or to get information.
What time does that start?
It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I think you can start, you can check in at 7:30, I believe.
Same day as the fishing? Oh, 11. So maybe you could do both. I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe.
Awesome. All right. And I think that we are now ready to launch into public comment on agenda items only as part of our special meeting. Are there any comments from the public on any of the items on our agenda? Hearing none, we can move into board resolutions.
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austining authorizes opening a 2018 capital project number 2018-5203 entitled Rubin House Restoration with a project budget of $15,000 for mitigation funded by a fund balance transfer from the general fund.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
So the Rubin House is part of the original Crest Estate property at Cedar Lane Park, and unfortunately, it has deteriorated to basically the point of no return. There's very little that can be salvaged. We've discussed what options we have for the site, and all of those options include fairly major remediation before we can progress. It seems that the first step is to remove the asbestos. Once the structure has secured a clean bill of health, we will discuss how we are going to proceed further. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
Whereas the Briarcliff Manor Restaurant and Catering Corp. Has filed an application for a cabaret license for the calendar year 2018. And whereas the Town Board has reviewed the application and attachments thereto, as well as reports from involved departments, including the Police Department and Building Department. And whereas on April 24th, 2018, the Town Board opened a public hearing on the subject cabaret application, at which time all persons interested were given an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to the cabaret application. And the public hearing was closed on April 24th, 2018. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austining hereby approves the application of the Briarcliff Manor, 25 Studio Hill Road, Briarcliff Manor, in the unincorporated area of the town, for a cabaret license subject to the following limitations and conditions. Bands, DJs with no more than 6 performers to be allowed on Sunday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, well, we had very nicely no complaints about the Briarcliff Manor. We're happy that this establishment has been such a good neighbor and has done what it could to mitigate any kind of issues that might evolve around any kind of noise complaints that have happened over the years. And so thankfully, without any complaints, we move forward. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And Perry, we're happy that you're going to have a cabaret license. We'll continue to entertain.
Whereas the Austining Basics campaign was introduced by the Austining Union Free School District in 2017 to educate the community about early childhood literacy and school readiness. And whereas the Austining School District has requested to hold an end of the school year Austining Basics celebration for families and community members on Friday, June 1st, 2018 from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Lewis Engle Park Stage area. The event. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austining hereby authorizes the Austining School District to hold the event and waives the field and facility use fee for use of the Lewis Engle Park Stage area with the use of lights.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So So Ossining Basics is a collective impact campaign that all of us, town, village, library, school district, and local businesses are participating in, and we're very happy to be able to continue to support this effort to make sure all of our children can have the tools that they need to be successful in school when they get to school. And this is really targeting families to help them understand how they can make sure that their children are as ready to learn as possible when they are 3 years old. So we start talking to them right when they're 0, right when they're first born. And this is a great way to celebrate and learn more about the event, learn more about the program. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Whereas the town board of the town of Ossining has been considering the adoption of a proposed local law entitled Establishing Electric Car Charging Regulations in the Town of Ossining, which establish parking regulations for parking stalls intended for the use of charging electric vehicles at electric car charging stations in town parks. And whereas, in accordance with New York State law, and after having provided all requisite notice thereunder, the town board conducted a public hearing on introductory local law number 3 of 2018, entitled Establishing Electric Car Charging Regulations in the Town of Ossining, on May 1st, 2018, at 7:30 p.m. at 53 Broughton Avenue, Ossining, New York, during which the public had the opportunity to be heard on such proposed local law. And whereas the proposed local law is a type 2 action and does not require environmental review, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby adopts local law number 3 of 2018, entitled Establishing Electric Car Charging Regulations in the Town of Ossining, with such adoptions take effect as set forth in said local law and as otherwise required by law. And be it further resolved that the town board directs said local law number 3 of 2018 to be filed and or distributed in accordance with applicable law.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
This is a roll call vote, okay. Councilman Shaw.
Aye.
Councilman Dettori.
Aye.
Councilman Feldman.
Aye.
Supervisor Levenberg.
Aye. And I didn't make any comments before, but we're very excited to be able to introduce these electric vehicle charging stations to incentivize people to purchase electric vehicles. There's lots of incentives right now through New York State and through the federal government, and great deals on some of the electric cars that are out there. Now that you know that you could actually charge your car and go for a walk, or watch your kids play soccer, or baseball, or play tennis, or any of the other things that you'd like to do in our parks, or patronize some of our local businesses, go to our Cedar Lane Art Center, or take a walk along Engle Park, or go to one of the lovely restaurants down at the riverfront. We encourage you to think about that, and hopefully we will be able to encourage more and more people to consider electric vehicles as part of their personal fleet and lifestyle. Thanks so much.
Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby accepts the quote for monthly maintenance of the town's 7 sewer lift station generators with National Standby Repair Company, Inc., for a cost of $1,275 per generator for the year 2018.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So this is an annual agreement for our sewer lift station generators that took a while to materialize. Stay tuned for more resolutions about sewer lift station maintenance coming up at next week's meeting. We have a few projects in mind for this summer to give our sewer infrastructure some much needed support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign the landlord authorization form as part of the New York State Liquor Authority's special event permit application for the Ossining Fire Department's event at Engle Park, scheduled for the evening of August 3rd, 2018.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Well, I hope everyone has marked their calendars for one of Ossining's most exciting annual events. On Friday, August 3rd, the Ossining Fire Department will parade through the town and the village and wind their way down to the Ossining waterfront, where they will hold their annual celebration at Lewis Engle Park. As the landlord of the park, we are asked by the New York State Liquor Authority to acknowledge this event, and we join the Ossining Fire Department in looking forward to the parade this summer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, so may I now have a motion to adjourn into our town hall meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. So first up tonight, I would like to welcome our recently appointed town historian, Scott Craven. Mr. Craven, besides being an employee of the Ossining Public Library, is also Ossining's former police captain. So we still get to call you Captain Craven, right? It's like forever? Is that true? Yeah, I do. And Captain Craven is a local history buff, and we're so happy that he is now an appointed member of our town. So, Captain Craven, take it away. What are you talking about?
Well, we've had a busy history year. It's been tough weather, but good history. We started the year at the Eagle Fest with T-Town and Croton Point. We partnered with Solar River Audubon and did historical walks over the Croton landfill. Then in March, we taught a 6-hour class at the Ossining Teacher Center about Ossining. We focused on significant institutions and immigration patterns here in the village. We had over 20 teachers. It was great. The Ossining Teacher Center does a lot of work. I've been teaching there since 2008, and they're great. The last couple of months, myself, I've been talking about Haverstraw Bay, and Dana White's been talking about the Ossining waterfront in a series of talks, and I think that's not coincidental. I think more and more people are going down to the river now that Ossining and Croton and Peekskill and Terrytown have improved their waterfront. A lot of people besides boaters and fishermen are going down there, so we're trying to get the word out that people should be going down to the river. A good place to start if you want to learn about the riverfront. There's a small kiosk down by the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. I think Dana White actually did it. There's 6 storyboards on it. Talks about the Ossining waterfront. It's excellent. And if you're looking to do more, the Ossining Public Library has a good collection of local history. Will point you in the right direction.
Isn't there a talk Wednesday tomorrow?
There is. Getting to that. I'm told that Assemblywoman Galeff's show, currently being shown, is a talk I gave with her about Route 9. Everything you want to know about Route 9 and much, much more is showing on GoTV now. Tomorrow, Wednesday at 7:30 at Shadowbuck Yacht Club, we'll be talking about commercial fishing in Ossining and the copper mines in Sparta for the ferry sloops. They have a good lecture series. We'll be talking down there tomorrow night. Sparta is doing a tour this Sunday at 1 o'clock. They do a walking tour every Sunday, or they do a lot of Sundays. They're excellent. And this is a really good one to go on before it gets too hot. Alan Stahl does them. They're excellent. They're free, but you have to register in advance because you only take 20 people to turn. But they're really good. And the following day, on the 7th, they're doing their lecture series, and Roger Panetta is going to be speaking about Lyndhurst. He's a really well-known historian and author, and that's going to be excellent.
And that's through the Jug Tavern, the Alan Stahl walk, like if somebody wanted to go online and register, it's
Yes.
Jug Tavern, right?
Jug Tavern, yeah.
Okay, .org.
Ossining Historic Cemeteries did their first cleaning. They're a strong group, and they'll be doing another cleaning on May 19th at 9 to 12. And on June 3rd at 1 o'clock, they are opening the Dale Avenue Heritage Trail. So that'll be excellent.
Dale Cemetery Heritage Trail, correct.
Dale Cemetery Heritage Trail.
That's the one. We got it.
Excellent. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Village Fair is coming up in June. Typically, Friends of Old Croton Aqueduct opens the Weir Chamber on the Village Fair Day. It's worthwhile to go and take a tour of the Weir, and you can also walk down the Sing Sing Kill walkway underneath. So we're busy. I hope to see you tomorrow night down in Shadowmuck, where we talk about all kinds of fish and copper and silver, all kinds of cool stuff. So
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you so much for the update. It's great to have you. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Captain Craven before he escapes? About the history? We have a few questions. Just joking. I'm joking. You're off the hook. Thank you. Next up, we have a few special guests who are going to share some information with us about a very important project along Ossining's waterfront. Dr. Gareth Huffam, who is also a member of the town's planning board, is the director of Hudson Valley Arts and Science, and he has been spearheading the Village Dock Extension Project. Gareth has been working closely with the Village of Ossining Manor Lynbrooks Avenue and architect Ed Weinstein of Ed Weinstein PC to make the input to take the input from multiple stakeholders and develop a plan that works for our community and for our natural environment to extend the village dock, ferry pier. I have had the pleasure, of sitting in on many of these meetings over the past few months. You might not have thought I looked like I was having so much pleasure, as has the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club, and I'm happy that my board colleagues and our residents will also have a chance to learn more about this exciting and largely grant-funded project, and having nothing to do with anything that any of the folks in the audience have done, because they've done a fantastic job trying to take all of the various stakeholders' input and coming up with a project that looks like it might touch and solve many of the problems that everybody has. So, without further ado, Dr. Huffam, Gareth, would you like to join us? Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry, Lynn, you have the microphone. Lynn, thank you.
Thank you to the town board for having us tonight. Just some brief introductory remarks before Gareth gets into the presentation for you. So the goal of this grant was to design a multi-purpose pier that could provide Hudson River access for both Ossining residents and visitors. The grant gathered together a diverse group of riverfront stakeholders, as you've already mentioned, to imagine a design for a dock that could benefit the existing waterfront users and users of the future, and promote the future enjoyment of the waterfront. This grant was managed by Hudson Valley Arts and Sciences, and the town and the village were both stakeholders in the process. Other stakeholders in the process included the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club, Shadowhook Yacht Club, Ginsburg Development Companies, the town EAC. At the time, the village EAC was not constituted enough, so it didn't participate. Metro North, New York Waterway, Free Westerly, and then Clearwater. So it was a very...
Just to name a few.
If I left anyone out, I'm sorry. Over the past year plus, Gareth Huffam of Hudson Valley Arts and Sciences has patiently guided the group through 29 potential concepts. Ed Weinstein of Ed Weinstein Architecture and Planning will discuss the technical aspects of option 29, which the group has finally agreed to. We've revised, modified, and improved the various drawings to ensure that the comments of all the stakeholders were addressed along the way. If you think back to last year, around this time, the initial wish list that the group had was really long and lengthy, and several of the permitting agencies kind of nixed some of the items. We're making this presentation to the town board tonight because we would like the board to write a letter of support for this proposal. We've already received letters of support from most of the other stakeholders, including the Ossining Boat Canoe Club, the Village Board of Trustees, Ginsburg Development Corporation, Free Westerly, Metro North, and New York Waterway are formally sending this through their own internal processes. We hope to hear back from them shortly. So as we move forward, because we're going to be going through the permitting process with New York State DEC, our letters of support are really crucial to help show broad support. So we hope that once you see where we started and where we are, you guys will help and support this effort and the hard work that was put into it.
So I just wanted to reiterate that you said this was option number 29. 29, folks. I also just wanted to make a note that you might want to adjust that slide so it doesn't say 2008. Because then I think this process, as long as it has taken, has actually been pretty quick with all things considered, and that would make it look like it took a whole heck of a lot longer.
So good evening, members of the board and viewers at home. My name is Gareth Huffam. I'm with Hudson Valley Arts and Science, and thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on the pier extension project. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the purpose of tonight's presentation first, briefly. Give some background, especially for those who are not familiar with the project, and give you a little bit more background than some of the board members who've seen a lot of this already. Then talk about the process steps that we've taken, those that we've already completed, talk about where we are now and what our future steps will be. Then we'll turn it over to Ed Weinstein to actually show you the design of what we're calling option 29, which is a design that, as Dana pointed out, came about from working with all the stakeholders, and we think we've got a working solution. So the purpose, as I mentioned, is to update view and give you some background, but also to ask for the board's vote of confidence in the form of a letter, perhaps, to show that you support the project as it is, so that when we go forward to the state and federal agencies for permitting, it gives them an understanding that you're behind it. So first some background. First some general background, then more specific background about the project. So as most of you know, the village of Ossining in the 1800s was a thriving, truly vibrant dock city, a port city. Sailing ships would bring materials and goods, supplies in from the city and from upstate agricultural areas, and would take away and manufacture goods and other agricultural goods from local areas and take it to the city. When the railroad came through in the mid-1860s, that came to a crashing halt, but nonetheless, all the way up into the 1930s and 1940s, the citizens along the Hudson River were able to enjoy riverboat cruises, essentially, that would go up and down the river, and we happen to have a riverboat that had Ossining as its home port. It was called the Sarah Jenks, and in the left-hand photograph, you can see the Sarah Jenks, probably past its prime. It looks like it's somewhere in the 30s or 40s there. And on the right-hand side, you can see that it's nestled in right in front of the Maui oil tanks where the current pier is right now. I'd like to thank David White for providing these photographs as well. If you blow up the image, you can actually read on the back of the Sarah Jenks, it says Ossining, New York. So it's proudly docked here. There's another image of it at a different time, and you can see that this was probably around the turn of that century, 1900 or so, based on the fashions. And here you can see families carrying picnics to enjoy a day on the river, and we're hoping to revive this sort of opportunity. This is a photograph of the Henry Gourdin's fishing crew. Henry Gourdin, for those of you who don't know, is a famous Hudson River fisherman who has sadly passed, but many of us got to know him. And he was sort of a bridge between an older world on the Hudson River shore and the modern world, and he had a thriving commercial fishing operation, and that was his fishing shack that was right down at the now aptly named Henry Gourdin Park. So more specifically, background on this project. In the 2008 timeframe, the Village Board of Trustees requested that Metro North Railroad, who operates the Ossining-Haverstraw Ferry, move the ferry terminal from its original position at the end of the pier through an angle northward to open the end of the pier for future extension to deeper water. So that was actually 2008. That was not an error. Metro North complied with the request. That work was completed around 2011. And since that time, the pier has been ready for extension. We finally got a grant to do the design and permitting work to make that, or try to make that a reality. This is an aerial photograph taken in 2010, and you can see, I don't have a laser pointer, I have a cursor. So here you can see the village dock, which is wood up to about this point, and it was the ferry terminal from that point out. So you can see the end of the pier was blocked. But then by 2014, the ferry terminal was moved through that angle, and now the end of the pier is ready for extension out into deeper water. And just to orient you, this is the Ossining Boat Canoe Club here, train station up here, and what is now Harbor Square. So the goals of the pier project were to extend the pier from its current very shallow water, it's now at about 6 feet, to deeper water, so that ships like the Clearwater, the Freedom Schooner, Amistad, just to name 2 of the tall ships, sailing ships that ply the Hudson now, also so that they could come and visit Ossining, which they have not been able to do for forever. Well, Clearwater has visited at the Shattuck, but they've gotten stuck in the mud 2 or 3 times, and so they don't like to do that. They've been very supportive of opening this public pier, and they've said that they've wanted for years to be able to bring their educational programs to the Ossining school system and areas, surrounding areas. We also are very interested in bringing tourist ships for things like sunset tours and the autumn leaf tours. We also want to be able to accommodate tourist ships and ferries, some of the rapid ferries from New York City, to service the Sing Sing Prison Museum, which we're hoping will come about in the not too distant future. We're also planning or hoping to have transient boating slips so that visitors from other nearby and more distant communities on the Hudson River can stop and visit our restaurants, take part in our waterfront events and so forth. And we want to have ADA compliant end of the pier fishing, so that citizens of Ossining can go out to the end of the pier, enjoy a 180-degree view of our magnificent Hudson, and fish, or have lunch, or just hang out and enjoy it. And that has not been possible. All the way through with all of those goals, we have had to, as Dana mentioned, try to balance all the stakeholder needs. And all of the stakeholders have, very different needs and concerns. So it has been a difficult, challenging process. But I think that with the plan that we'll be showing you, we think that we've solved most of those problems and have letters of support from most of the stakeholders. In addition to all of that, we wanted to be able to fulfill the aspirations of the Village LWRP, that's the Waterfront Plan, Village Comprehensive Plan, and the Town Comprehensive Plan, all of which talk about Hudson River access and improved facilities for boating. This is, just shows 3 examples of historic and educational tall ships that routinely go up and down the Hudson River, bringing their educational messages to other communities that have not been able to enjoy Ossining, or we were not able to enjoy them. But with this pier, we would be able to. And these, just like I say, 3 examples. For instance, the Hudson River Clearwater has educational messages involving the ecology of the river and early commerce on the river. The Freedom Schooner Amistad has educational programs involving the early slave trade and injustice as it is today in places. And ships like the Friends Goodwill, which played a role in the War of 1812, and they talk about maritime history. These are just 3 out of many that would be able to visit Ossining. In addition, there are many riverboat cruisers that are operating on the Hudson River. These 3 are just current examples. They're a little bit like the Sarah Jenks, a little bit smaller and a lot faster. We would love to be able to have these kind of ships come and service, come and go from Ossining and have many recreational opportunities. I actually got to spend one afternoon on this one in the center, in the city, and it was a wonderful afternoon in luxury on the river. Then there are other things like the science barge, the famous science barge, which normally is docked down in Yonkers, but it travels to other cities along the Hudson as well, and we would love to have them come. So just to review some of the comprehensive plans. The town comprehensive plan, objective number 3, speaks specifically about renewal of the waterfront resources and providing more public access to the Hudson River. The village comprehensive plan, in their chapter 3 on the waterfront, down here in red, says the village should continue to actively support and pursue the potential expansion of the village dock to create the ability to provide for more waterfront recreational and tourism and boating opportunities. And we think our plan accomplishes that. And the village LWRP, there are 4 of the policies. I won't read them, but they speak to the same issues, and we think we accommodate those as well. So just to give you an idea of the process steps, in 2015, Hudson Valley Arts and Science, with support from the Village of Ossining and Ginsburg Development, applied for a DEC grant for the design and permitting of a pier. The grant was awarded for $100,000. We hired Ed Einstein, who you'll hear from in a minute, for the design and permitting. We, along with the stakeholders, had a first meeting with the federal and state agencies, what they call a pre-application meeting. And during that meeting, they laid out some of the issues that were very important to them and in very specific terms, which was useful as guidance for us in the design process. And they spoke forcefully about protecting the benthic ecology, about protecting the Hudson River navigation, and compliance with the ADA requirements for handicap disabled access. And we took all of their comments and these guide points very much to heart all through our design process. So HVAS hired a company called Hydrodata to do brand new bathymetric sonar mapping of the entire area so that we knew we had accurate data. The bottom of the river changes every year, and so we had brand new data. We've had six formal stakeholder meetings and I don't know, hundreds of more informal ones, and we've hashed out conflicting visions. 29 different design iterations have been drawn, circulated, discussed, rejected, or improved. And I think improved is a key word here because the stakeholders really proved, and the whole process, as painful as it was at times, really led to a lot of improvements. So we're now at a point where we have option 29, and we have broad stakeholder support for it. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Ed Weinstein, who will walk you through the design.
Thank you, Gareth. As I've been introduced, I'm Edward Weinstein. My firm is Edward Weinstein Architecture and Planning. And although we do a lot of traditional architecture, for the last 30 years or so, we've been doing a lot of waterfront projects, primarily due to my background as New York City's Director of Waterfront Development and Assistant Commissioner of Port Development. So, let's see. How do I get to the next slide? Sorry?
And is there an easier way?
Okay, so this is a sort of a broad view looking at the site from far away. Just to give you a sense of scale, this is an anchorage area that the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club uses to moor vessels. It's a greatly expanded anchorage area, and yet we're still several thousand feet from the Federal Navigational Channel, so we should not have any issues interfering with navigation, which the Corps of Engineers is always concerned about. And if necessary, this anchorage area could expand. One thing we've done to enable access to the, to the floating dock to accommodate some of the visiting vessels is create what's called a fairway through the anchorage. So, and that'll be marked with buoys so that it'll be safe for navigation. When we began this process and over the last year, I think we had a lot of conflicts, a lot of disagreements, but yet all of the stakeholders stuck with the process, and it's, I think, to the credit of all the stakeholders that we came up with a plan that everybody not only could live with, but I think benefited everybody. And we've come up with a plan that extends the pier, and so this is the only zoom in if I can. So that's looking at it in a different orientation. North is up, and so what you see here, this little stub is where the existing ferry gangway and floating dock exists. That's existing. This is existing. This area that's dark. The pier extension comes out and then has a little dog leg and extends, I think it's a total of about 300 feet to a fishing pier at the end, and another gangway that will lead to a 10 by 60 floating dock, which could accommodate many of those vessels. In addition to the pier extension, which will provide a lot of public access, we also have the opportunity to create about 22 slips for small recreational vessels that could come visit the village, could come for dock and dine, and generally give people an opportunity to come visit the village and the town of Ossining. On the southern side, extending south, this is a floating structure which has been done in other places in the region. It's a floating barge that could accommodate canoe and kayak launch. It could accommodate other kinds of public access, and also a place for other sort of larger vessels to berth. In the long-range plan, there's also another opportunity for additional transient docks. And I think the key thing that we've done is that we've done this all in a manner that's consistent with the LWRP, the comprehensive plan. This development would, I think, attract a lot of people to the waterfront, and it is, people experiencing the waterfront create stewardship of the river, and the more people that can get down to the river, the more they will value the river and protect the river. So, that's what this is. The next step that we're going to engage in is an additional series of meetings with the regulatory agencies. We hope to be able to convince them to allow us to proceed with applications with this design, although there is a possibility they may seek to tweak the plans a bit. Having your support will give us a stronger position when we meet with the DPC and the Corps of Engineers. And once we sort of start going through the permitting process and they've given us sort of the okay on the design, then we would begin construction documents, and at the end of the process we will have a set of biddable construction documents and permits to allow this project to move forward, providing that, and we will have enough information so that I think the agencies with money to grant would welcome the opportunity to fund a project like this. Any questions?
Any questions from board colleagues? No? Okay. So I just wanted to make a couple of comments. Just going back to this is option number 29. The Ossining Canoe Club, which is obviously, we have an agreement with them. They essentially lease, except for not lease, the Arsenio Boat and Canoe Club, licensed the Arsenio Boat and Canoe Club, which is in the town building, and they've been there for over 100 years, and they are a critical stakeholder in this process, and it has been critical to work with them to make sure that their, what's the field called? Mooring field was not going to be impinged upon. So the process included redrawing some of the original drawings because it didn't seem to indicate properly where the mooring field currently was, and being very considerate of what is happening on that side of the dock. And after many meetings with the Boat and Canoe Club, this was a compromise. And again, compromise doesn't always mean you get everything exactly your way. It means that everybody gives a little bit. And it's my understanding that this has still got a long way to go. It's not a done deal yet. This is just getting us to the next stage, and now DEC will review it again. Even though they've already given their input, they may say, sorry, we don't like the fingers, or we don't like this or that. We don't exactly know what they're going to say, but there are a lot of stakeholders involved, and this was a compromise. So I think it's fantastic. I think you guys have done an amazing job with many stakeholders, and there they are all listed. All the people, all the names of the people who have been involved, and I'm sure that probably isn't even all encompassing, probably a few dozen more. But it's been quite a process, and I think it's a fantastic project, and I hope that it will more than achieve its goals. And one of the other pieces of it is that, as Gareth mentioned at the beginning, that there was a grant that funded it, but there is a matching component, and all of the many hours that all these organizations have put in to all these meetings goes into that matching component. So we can all help. That's how we are all helping to move this project along. So if there are no comments from the board, I would just ask if we have consensus to write a letter of support.
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Hearing that we do have that consensus, I don't even know if we have to, oh, yes, Council? Oh, she's waving her hand with the thumbs up. Oh, 2 thumbs up, I think. We will get that letter right out as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
And we're grateful for your presentation.
I appreciate the opportunity, and happy to give a digital copy if you want to put it on the website for anyone.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to put it on our website. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And Gareth, you'll come back and present after the DEC does whatever it does, and we talk about some of the logistics. You'll come back and present the next versions, obviously.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to mention that, again, the grant was for the design and permitting process, and there's still need to find money to actually erect to build it. Right? There's many more steps. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, our large audience, thank you so much for your participation this evening. I'm very grateful to everybody here who did make a presentation, and all of those who helped get us to this point of this evening's meeting. And without further ado, I will ask for a motion to go into executive session for advice of counsel, personnel, and contracts. Fantastic. I hope all those in favor. Aye, thank you. I hope you will all join us next Tuesday, May 8th at the courthouse for our regularly scheduled legislative session. In the meanwhile, hope everyone will soak up this beautiful weather and enjoy the week ahead. Good night, everybody, and have a great week.